I just visited a local thrift store that I go to fairly frequently. It's one that has a lot of VHS tapes, more VHS tapes than books actually. I've mentioned it in past videos. I went there a little over 6 weeks ago was the last time, and they actually didn't have very many new books or very many new VHS tapes or very many new CDs. So I actually came out of there with only about 5 books, 2 CDs, and 2 VHS tapes. I didn't spend too much time because I was able to go through it pretty quick. It just reminded me of the importance of rotating your sourcing locations. Most of the places I try not to go to more than once every 4 to 6 weeks. And sometimes, you know, even this is a perfect example, sometimes even 6 weeks is not long enough for them to get new stuff. Sometimes you gotta wait 2 months or more. Unfortunately, staying within 5 to 10 miles of where I live, there's only so many thrift stores that I can go to during the week. Basically during the week there's just, there's not estate sales, there's not yard sales, there's not library book sales, but there are thrift stores always open. So I have to kind of rotate them. I have probably around 10 or so. So I'm able to kind of rotate them pretty good. And there's one that I can go to more often. But, you know, that's something that can be a challenge as you're sourcing during the week and all you really have are thrift stores. You gotta make sure not to go to them too frequently or you're just gonna be wasting time and not finding anything. You don't wanna be going to the same place over and over again and not finding any new items to source. You know, also it kind of depends on the location. Some places get way more books and VHS tapes and CDs than other places. You know, other places might get other random stuff or more clothes than anything else. That's why it's just good to spread it out. You can have 10 to 15 thrift stores close by to where you live, which I know depending on where you live might not be so easy. If you don't live in a highly populated area, probably at least 8 or 10 I would say. You're probably not gonna have too much of a problem finding enough items to source. Sometimes I run into this problem though, but usually it's okay, I get enough. I just, you know, normally when I go sourcing today on a Friday, I'm able to get a lot more, at least 20 to 30 items. And thankfully tomorrow there is a dollar bag sale that goes on once a month near where I live, and there are a few yard sales that say they have some books. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to kind of pick up the pace because I want to be able to get a shipment out this next week and keep on my every 2-week shipment schedule. Let me know if you have that issue with sourcing, finding enough sources or enough locations so that you're not running dry. I guess that's why it's important to have as many sources as possible so you don't ever have a week where you're kind of low on stuff to send in. So even though the sourcing location I went to did not provide very much quantity in terms of books and whatnot, I did find one really good book that is going for good money. It's called The Collected Wisdom of Dr. Raymond Charles Barker, who, based upon the back here, was an important figure in the New Thought movement and founder of the First Church of Religious Science in New York City. So, you know, it's religious, and it's a guy who was the head of that, or, you know, at least a major figure. So this one it's ranked pretty high, 1.8 million, but there's only 2 reviews, but there's only 16 used offers and a few new. Now, there's no FBAs, so I'll be the only FBA offer on there for now, unless somebody else finds a copy. But the lowest MF price with shipping is just over $38. 38 bucks, and that's an acceptable condition book. This one is in acceptable condition as well. As you can see, it's pretty bad. It has really creased corners. There's a lot of dog-eared pages. There's an inscription on the inside of the front cover. There's only a couple of highlights and some like underlining, but you know, so it's going to be acceptable. Even though it's acceptable, it's still going to go for really good money. So now here's where the debate comes in. At 1.8 million, you know, should I price above the lower merchant fulfilled prices. There's about 5 of them that hover around $38, $39, including shipping. So should I, price just under them so I can get the quicker sale? Or should I price higher and price $44 or $49 in hopes of a prime buyer coming along, or someone that just, wants to get it quicker? This all depends also on camel. I haven't looked the book up yet on camel. If it's selling pretty steady, and I would say at least a copy every 2 to 3 months, then I might go for a little bit higher, maybe $45, $49. But I gotta say, lately, I've been wanting to sell stuff quicker than later. Even though, if I sell it for $39, $38 versus $48, $49, there's not going to be a big price difference if it takes a year to sell versus it takes 3 to 6 months. I'm still not going to put out a lot of money for storage. But it's a weird thing. I think maybe the longer I'm in the business, the quicker I want to sell stuff. So we'll see what I do, what I decide based on camel. Another thing to consider when you're pricing these books is taking a look at when there's no other FBA offers, you have to take a look at merchant fulfilled. And you have to see, are some of these guys mega sellers? Because if they're mega sellers and you're going to compete with them, they probably have a repricer, and some of them I know for sure have repricers. So if you're too close in price, they're going to beat you by a penny. But if you price it significantly lower, like $5 or $10 lower, depending on how much it's going for and how much you're okay with making off of the book. As far as I understand it, you're not going to probably have to worry as much about the repricer, unless the repricer is going to jump down $5 to $10 based upon your price. But if they're going to do that, then there's nothing much you can do about it. But just be aware of if there's mega sellers on there, because a lot of times those guys are willing to drop their prices significantly, whereas smaller sellers might not be willing to do that, or might not be paying attention to it, might not have a repricer. I got this book for less than $1 because I got about 5 books and paid, it's probably like 50 cents, 60 cents, something like that. So, even if I end up selling it for 35 bucks, it's still going to make great return, and it'll definitely make the overall, small sourcing run worth it financially. And that's the thing that can happen, is even though you find a book like this, even though you only get like a dozen or so items from one sourcing run, 10 items, finding that one definitely helps a lot. So probably not going to do any more sourcing today. Gonna edit and put up this video, and if I have time, put up the new items I got. But tomorrow should be good. I'll go to a yard sale or two, and that bag sale earlier in the morning. So hopefully they'll have some good stuff at the bag sale. It kind of varies at this one, but sometimes they have some good stuff, and it's really dirt cheap for $1 a big grocery bag. So we'll see. As always, remember, keep booking.